Bump into ex-footballers and friends and famous people. Racing gets in the way sometimes.
I think it was one year I didn't see an actual horse till the Thursday.
With the 2023 Cheltenham Festival just around the corner, who better to take you through the runners, the riders, the do's and the don'ts than the talkSPORT Bet team?
To my right, talkSPORT legend, Alan Brazil. Al, Cheltenham, there's nothing like it, is there?
I can't wait. I don't know whether I'm excited or scared, to be honest, but I can't wait.
And to my left, talkSPORT racing pundit and winner at Cheltenham, Lizzie Kelly. Lizzie, it feels like Christmas Eve, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a huge build-up with all the previews and stuff, but yeah, it'll be good when the flag goes up for the first.
And last, but certainly not least, the one,
The only, Neil Razor Rudiger. Neil, pleasure to have you here.
How you doing?
I know you love your racing.
I love me race, I love me Cheltenham. Now, Cheltenham week for me is like Ibiza. It's the Ibiza of racing.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
that's
It's like
amazing.
going to the first day you arrive at Cheltenham's like getting the first day Ibiza with the lads on a stag do.
Really now?
It's exciting and nerves. Nerves and excitement.
Right, throughout the show we'll be giving you tips both on and off the track, how to survive the festival for first timers, and for all of your Cheltenham needs, head on over to talkSPORT Bet.
It all kicks off with Champions Day, day one at the Cheltenham Festival. 4 Grade 1 races on that day, with the feature race at 3:30, and that is the Champions Hurdle. So, Alan, let's whet the appetite of those festival goers, those potential first-timers. I want you to paint the picture. It is the first race, the Supreme Novices Hurdle at 1:30. Is there a sight in sport like it?
Well, it's one of the special, when the tapes go up, the special roar, you get the roars at football, at rugby, the big, Six Nation games. But there's something special about Cheltenham. There'll be, 50, 60,000 people on the Tuesday. A lot of people feel that Tuesday's the best day's racing. Champion Hurdle, of course, fantastic. Yeah. And I just absolutely love it. We get to the track early with talkSPORT, the breakfast show. We're there 5:30 onwards. We finish at 10. And then all your mates, ex-footballers and who's who pop in and hello. And so it's a great social as well. There's so much expectations. There's so much excitement, but when the tapes go up and you hear that roar, bang, we're back at Cheltenham.
And Razor, it's like Christmas Day, isn't it, day one?
It is, I think, for sight and sound, one of the greatest things I've ever seen and heard at the same time is, first time, did you ever go to Cheltenham? I went the other side of the course and was near the final fence. And when they're coming up the horses, I mean, I've never been, you're lucky enough to ride, I've never been that close to horses, but when you see them coming down the straight, hitting the final fence at pace, and the noise you can hear from the crowd, you can see the horse's ears pricked, you can hear the horse breathing as it's coming and going, you can hear the jockey having a go, swearing at the horse. But that sight and sound is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And then to the end, the horse, this beautiful beast jumping over the fence, is unbelievable. So it's one of the greatest sporting moments I've ever seen.
Oh my God, it does sound magical to be honest.
And then, as I say, how you go to the Guinness and you bump into ex-footballers and friends and famous people. Racing gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
You're having such a good time, you think, oh no, you've got to get a bet on. And if you miss the bet, you think, I'll save me money anyway, So racing does get in the way.
I think it was one year I didn't see an actual horse till the Thursday.
What's it like, different horses? Can they handle the atmosphere? Do you ride different horses?
There
Have you been on a horse you think it's not going to handle the atmosphere?
Yeah, there would be horses that you like, especially young horses, you're going out and this is the biggest meeting they've been to, so noisy, and it can really have like a negative effect on them.
It's something you can't practice, can you?
No.
You can't put it through that situation.
No,
Is there much of an advantage as a horse that's won at Cheltenham before?
Yeah, it's an advantage. It's a real advantage.
Horses for courses is a
and you see festival form coming through. So if you are looking at a race and you're seeing horses that have won at the festival before, that's a really good pointer because that the festival form always sees you through.
All eyes on the Champions Hurdle, that's at 3:30. Honeysuckle ran home victorious last year, but who did the panel have their eyes on this year?
We'll start with Alan. Who are you tipping to win?
My old boss, Bobby Robson, used to live in Ipswich, and there's a place there, Constitution Hill, and he does look a special animal. He really does. I know the Irish think they'll give it a great chance for State Man, but I just think he's a one-off. I just think he has to make a mistake to lose the race, to be honest.
Yeah, Constitution Hill. Really? He's done everything right so far. State Man is the Willie Mullins horse that's coming over from Ireland. He's also got Vauban. State Man's the closest in the betting, but so far, there's nothing really that you can say that's negative about Constitution Hill.
With all that being said, Razor, do you challenge that? Who are you tipping
No,
to?
I think it's just how far he wins by, but I think that I've written down, I like to move, it might be worth each way bet.
And do you have a dark horse for the day, Lizzie? Dark horse?
Dark horse for the entire day.
Let's say for the entire day. Is there one for the entire day?
I think there is for the entire day. I'm going to go rare edition each way.
Okay.
Trained by Charlie Longston. He's done everything right in this country, but he's sort of been looked over because the Irish have brought over a lot of obviously very good horses. But I think rare edition each way in the first.
Festival goers in their finest attire will descend on Cheltenham. Lizzie, it's another special day's racing, but it was cold last year, mind.
I'm a bit worried about what the weather's going to be like. I think it's going to be pretty cold again. Obviously, that has effect on runners as well. You know, if you if the ground is sort of frozen, then there could be real issues. If it pours with rain, you might have people pulling out horses because they don't like the ground.
Razor, have you ever taken the wife to Cheltenham?
Not really.
No.
Maybe not really.
Not
It's
really.
either yes or
I'm
no.
trying to how do I explain this? I say no chance.
Yeah.
Well, we decided that there was a couple of lads called Tony and Ben, and friends of mine. We decided to start a Razor Ruddock racing club. We bought a horse called King's Winford, and it was a rubbish horse. But we used to tell our wives that it ran at Cheltenham, so we could go to Cheltenham. And all our wives don't really like the racing. Hopefully they ain't going to watch this. This King's Winford used to run at Cheltenham, Aintree and Ascot every year,
Royal
every
Ascot.
meeting. Royal Ascot every year.
He was multi-purpose.
He
He'd
was.
go on the
He
flat
was. He ran-
and jumps.
In real, I think we see it raced twice. We see it with, where was we? We went
Southern.
Doncaster and Leicester. Doncaster and Leicester. See it raced twice. And Doncaster raced only 3 horses and it comes second though, Al. But
Third one
all
fell.
the wives, we paid 1,500 quid for this horse, right? And King's Winford, and the wives thought it run at Cheltenham every year so we could go to Cheltenham. And then when we came out, he go, nah, I didn't do too good, love. Oh no, better luck next year. Yeah, better luck next year.
All eyes on the Queen Mother Champion Chase at 3:30. Inogamine won last year, but who are the panel looking at this year? Let's start with Lizzie.
I think that Edward Stone's going to win it. He put in a good performance when beaten behind Editor de Gite in the Clarence House. Was given a really good ride, Editor de Gite, on that occasion. Edward Stone very nearly beat him from a sort of disadvantaged position with the way that the race panned out. I think he's still relatively unexposed over fences, won the Arkle last year. Inogamine, of course, has won champion chases in the past, but I think that I think Edward Stone is coming into that position that Inogamine was in.
There you go.
But I'm going Edward Stone as well.
As well, okay.
Yeah.
Al?
Yeah, make it a hat trick, and the reason why, as Lizzie said, bolted up last year. Alan King trains. He thinks the horse is a sensational horse, bit of a freak. Banbury Castle, isn't it? Alan trains. Banbury Castle. And the other reason why I backed him last time, he was unlucky, as Lizzie said. Maybe a little bit too much to do, but he actually got up, and the other one, Gary Moore's horse, came back at him. He's also owned by two boys, or two of the owners, live in Edwardstone, a village, and they use my local pub in Suffolk.
Ah, there you
So
go.
it'll be a local win for us.
That's how you
if
pick the
Edwardstone
horse.
wins.
Do you have a dark horse for the day,
I
Lizzie?
do actually. Saint Segal in the Grand Annual. He'd be quite a big price each way. My mother trains him. He's run a couple of really nice races this year.
Write that down, lads. Write that down, lads. My mother trained it. Write that
And I
down.
think that I think he's got a good each way chance.
For all your Cheltenham needs, head on over to talkSPORT Bet. And now we're on to day 3, and it's a special one. Why? It's St. Paddy's Day.
Lizzie, I'm going to throw this over to you. For those that don't know, that England versus Ireland rivalry really heats up at Cheltenham, doesn't it?
Yeah, they sort of started marketing it as the Presbury Cup years ago, and now there's like a tally through the week of English versus, or British versus Irish trained horses. British
It
normally
looks
lose.
one-way traffic this year, doesn't it? I think the Irish are going to bolt up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, although I think that the British have good chances in quite a lot of the championship races. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. The way it's been for the last few years has been very sort of Irish dominated.
I see. But the Irish jockeys are going to have to race completely differently now than when they're back home, aren't they? Because of that new whip rule implementation. So how does that change the dynamic at all?
Everybody, when they go and ride in different jurisdictions, especially on the flat where you race all around the world, you have to be able to ride to the rules of that jurisdiction. So the Irish haven't had the benefit of a bedding in period with the new stick rules, because obviously the Irish haven't changed their stick rules.
Got you.
But they'll have been aware of it for obviously the entire time that Britain's been talking about it.
Lizzie, why have they? And don't get me wrong. So people listening, some people might feel that jockeys shouldn't have whips. That's another argument. But why have they implemented this rule just before Cheltenham? I think the timing is ridiculous.
Yeah, the timing is bad. But I think the BHA wanted Cheltenham to come along and have no stick issues or whip issues, sorry. Unfortunately, it's just meant that over the last month, all anyone's been talking about is the whip. So it's probably highlighted the problem. I personally agree with you. I don't think that the stick should have been changed at this point. I think they should have waited until after Aintree, hadn't had the bedding in period over the summer when flat racing's obviously doing its thing and everyone's talking about that, and jumps or goes under the radar. And the same flip side for the flat boys as well. They should have had their bedding in period before Christmas, so that this summer they were all in their new regulations.
The Stayers Hurdle at 3:30 is the feature race for that day. Flooring Porter was the winner last year, but who is going to be the winner?
He's in good form, Lizzie, isn't he? Flooring Porter still,
and he's a stayer, I do believe.
Well, he's won the race twice.
Yeah.
Previously, so you've got course form there. We were talking earlier about festival form, so that ties in. His preparation for the race this year has not been as good. Ooh. And there was question marks about whether he was actually going to be able to run at Cheltenham at all.
Oh wow, okay.
That's messed my tip up.
So you're looking at him in quite a competitive race. There are plenty of others in here. Marie's Rock, you can make a case for. She's possibly going to be going for the Stayers. She'll also have the benefit of carrying less weight because she's a mare. So because she's a female.
She was bought by Syndicate, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And they're having so much fun with her, and she's won a lot of money for them, so it was a great purchase.
Yeah, and she won at the meeting last year.
Oh, okay.
So more festival form. Classical Dream is in there, Home by the Lee. I think one of the sort of fan favourites would be Paisley Park, who's won the race before. You've got a couple of French horses in here, actually. The main one would be Gold Tweed, who won at Cheltenham.
Bolted up.
On trials day, but that was actually over 2 mile 4, not 3 miles. Oh, right. But he did look like he was a really exciting horse and did beat some of the main hopes for this race in Paisley Park and a couple of others.
He'd be my pick, I think. Shishkin was, last time he was very impressive.
Yeah, Shishkin's probably the horse who everyone's going to get very excited about on that day, because you've kind of got 2 big races on Thursday with the Ryanair and the Stayers. And Shishkin will be if he wins, the roof will blow off the place.
The Gold Cup headlines not only day 4, but it is the feature race of the festival. Who will go down in history in one of the sporting events of the calendar? Razor.
Galloping Deschamps is a deserving favourite, yeah?
Really?
I think so. Willie Mullins, yeah?
Okay.
But I'm going each way on Paul Nicholls' Brave Man's Game.
Okay, Lizzie?
It's Galopin Deschamps to lose.
No, it's fairly open Gold Cup. It's not, this is not is not a best mate Kauto start.
That's what I'm saying. So it's worth the money, but I'm going each way. I'm not going to change. Why don't I ask that question? I'm talking myself out of it now.
He was clear when he fell last year, and it was, it was a bit Annie Powerish. It was, the crowd went ballistic because it was a lot of people's banker. But I did read an article, Patrick Mullins, talking about that fall has done him the world of good. Believe it or not, he doesn't just fly his fences; he acknowledges.
Would the horse pick that up as well? Would the
Oh
horse?
yeah.
Would they remember what they've done wrong? Like, I've done that last time. I'm gonna.
So what he was doing before that fall was he was just really gassy, like really revved.
Yeah.
And basically the fall made him realise that he doesn't have wings. He's got to try and be a bit clever about how he can't just let fly everything all the time, which is what he was doing. Now he'll actually sort of back off a fence, put himself right, dance in front of it.
Protectorate, I think, has improved a lot this year. Ball accounts, that's the whispers you hear. You hear so many whispers. But Protectorate, I think, could run a big each way race as well. But I'd have to go for Galloping, like Lizzie.
Oh, as well. Okay. Is it? I mean, you become a household name if you do it on that day, don't you? You go down in history. It's just it's so much added pressure. Well, it must be, like you've said, at Cheltenham.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of pressure. Friday, winning a Gold Cup is, it's like kids wanting to win a World Cup in football. Like wanting to win a gold medal at the Olympics.
It's the one you look at.
Yeah, and Grand National as well. But the Gold Cup is the biggest race of the year, and actually, every horse is almost like bred to try to be a Gold Cup horse.
Okay, and is there any dark horses for that day as well, potentially? Lizzie, I'm looking over at you.
Yeah, there are a couple of races where you can probably try and find a dark horse, but you probably would be wanting to. You'd probably be wanting to look at, say, the county, try and find, which is the second race, try and find a little bit of value. So maybe a horse like Mai Tai.
Okay.
He's trained by Harry Fry. I think he's quite well handicapped. So I'd probably go for him each way in the county hurdle.
Lizzie, we should encourage people as well going for the first time for the cross country. That's the Wednesday, isn't it? The cross country. The cross country is, you've got to see it, and you're allowed to cross over the track into the middle, where you've got all the hedges and the cross country, and if you don't know your way about, you think they're going to get lost, but it is fascinating to see, and you're allowed to be there close up and see it.
Closer, man.
It's really worth it.
Amazing,
that's a must-do when you're there.
A must-do if it's your first trip to Cheltenham.
And there we have it, our Cheltenham Festival preview show brought to you by talkSPORT Bet. For all of your Cheltenham needs, head on over to talkSPORT Bet. Special thanks to Lizzie, Razor, Al. I'll see you guys at Cheltenham. And for all those that can't make the races, you can listen to every single race across the talkSPORT network, and that is throughout the festival. Don't miss it.